Next, we are lucky to have with us Mary Plummer. Mary is an editor, a composer, a filmmaker, and a trainer, an author. She's written a lot of training books on Apple products, and for the last couple of years, she's been with Blackmagic Design, and she's going to tell us everything that's new with Resolve. So take it away, Mary.
In a nutshell, there's a lot new with Resolve. So there, that's the nutshell. Now we have, over 150 new items. If you've been following it at all, we're at 16.1 in public beta, which you can download. We also have 16 is our latest version, which is chock full of things. For those of you who are not familiar with Resolve or haven't really worked with it in a while, it's come a long way. So I just wanted to back up a little bit before I dive into. I'm going to focus on one of our pages. I just wanted to give you really quickly a look at how Resolve works. It's basically a conformless workflow. It's sort of like the flying car of the future, right? We've been waiting a long time to not have to conform our projects. And the idea is you can start, I'll start over here on the media page, which is, we have these pages down at the bottom, which you may or may not be able to see. There's little buttons you can push to get there. And this is our media page, which is where you can clone your footage. This is where you can organize it, add metadata, sync your dailies. All of that can be done right here on the media page. The edit page is where you do your standard editing. Now, I happen to have turned on a lot of extra things, but it is as simple or as complicated as you need. And what we do in the edit page is exactly what you would do in any nonlinear editing. You drive a car, you drive a different car, you're able to get from A to B. Same idea. They all have the same features. You're able to mark your clips, edit your clips, and there is no workflow I can't do with the edit page. It has been around, the way that we create bins, the way we organize, the way we edit, marking ins and outs and dragging and zooming, and all of that has been done the same for decades. And it works great for long form. But one of the new things that I'll show you is how we've taken that to the next step to make things move even faster. Before I do that, though, however, this is my timeline. I'm just going to show you, we also have the ability to, within the same application, go over to Fusion, which is our Fusion page. This is our visual effects and where we can do our compositing. And this is where I can come in and I can actually do my visual effects right here, high-end compositing, particle work, 3D, everything right within the same application. I'm still in the same timeline, and I can come right back over to my edit page, and here's whatever it is I might have done. We also have color, which I know some of you are familiar with, DaVinci Resolve Color. That's right here on this page. This is where you could come in and do your high-end color correction or whatever it is you might need to do. Again, I've done nothing but just go to a different page. It's still the same application. I'm going to come over to Fairlight, which is where we can do our full audio post. So everything, all of your stems, mixing, recording, ADR, bringing in all of your sound effects, syncing, all of that can be done right here. And then the last page, of course, is our deliver page, which is where you put out your final show. And you can put it out in any format that you need, and that would be right here. So that is DaVinci Resolve and its flexibility. It also works with all of your different formats, including your RAW files. So if you're working with, whether it's Blackmagic RAW or another RAW format, you're actually able to bring in the RAW camera footage and actually work with it all the way through. If you happen to be on a laptop or a slower computer, you can optimize that media, and with a single click, you can decide at any time to show an optimized version of your footage or proxies, or go right back to your raw footage. It's one click. There's no extra processes or steps or anything like that to get there. And let's back up to the edit page again. And as I mentioned, this is where you do your standard editing, and there's your media pool where you open up your footage and go through it. And what I'm going to show you is I'm going to come over to the cut page. And the cut page is where we're able to go in and actually work much faster. And in fact, to show you how much faster it really is, I'm going to just open up an empty timeline right here, and we'll just start from scratch. So here's a new timeline. Nothing's in here, and this is just the standard cut page. Up at the top, you will see that this is where I can look at my media. I can go in and open up timelines or whatever I happen to have. And as you can see, clips are clips. If you work with any editing software, you've worked with clips before. This happens to be in thumbnail view. You can also go over to list view if you want to organize or look for your footage in list view based on some metadata or other criteria. And we also have a clip view. And what that does is it lets you scrub through your footage. You can load up a shot, you can scrub through it, and you can actually see the beginning, middle, and end and kind of get a better idea of what your footage might be really quickly. If that works for you, you have this method as well. I'm going to go back to the thumbnail view, and I'm just going to load up my first shot. Just for example, this is a cooking show. This was shot in real time. We had 4 cameras. Two of the cameras ran the entire time, and 2 of them were just start and stop. No problem. I might want to cut between those, and I'm going to point out some of the ways that I can do this faster than real time, because I don't have to watch the whole show. I've seen it, right? Once I lay in my master shot, I just want to be able to cut into other cameras as soon as I need to. And what's really awesome about this is with 16.1, you can actually do that cutting, or you can sync it based on sound. You can sync it based on in and out points. It does not have to have time code on the clips already. So what I'm going to do is, before I start, I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to reset. I'm in the workspace menu, and I just want to reset my work layout, just so you can see that right here, just so that you can see that I have it all set up just for this. So this is my standard layout. I've brought up my clip, and if you notice that I can either look at the timeline at any point, or I could look at my shot. And so if I bring up my shot, obviously here it is. You notice it shows the waveform right away. That's very useful if you're working with talking heads or footage that has sound, because I can figure that out. And let's say I want to find a particular thing. Now I'm on a laptop using a trackpad. How boring is that? I could also use my new keyboard. As you can see, I'm just reaching over with my left hand, and I can buzz through my footage that way as well. In this case, I'm going to just stick with what I have. And if I want to scroll through my footage, I just drag my playhead back and forth. I could use my J, K, and L keys if you're used to those shortcuts. And if I want to find something, I could mark I and O for in and out. There's also keys if you're using our keyboard for in and out, so you could do it super fast. But let's say there's a particular part I want to listen to, and I'm going to set a few marks. So we're watching her do her a little bit, and we're going to find a certain part. I'm using JK now to just run through this real quick. She's going to talk about it. I'm going to mark an in point. Now I could do this.
Together. I'm so excited to share with you this dish, one of my favorites. It's a prawn and basil spaghettini.
Prawn and basil spaghettini. I'm going to mark an out point there. Now, as you notice, if you've ever marked in and out points on a clip, getting in there and finding those and now refining that, if I have to grab that out point to drag it, I might miss, or I'm going to mess this up. So one of the things we have is here on the left and right side is we have scratch trimmers. And I'm just going to zoom in on this section for just a second, if it works. Let's see. There we go. So now you can see my viewer a little bigger. And what I wanted to point out was this is my in and out points if I wanted to manually drag those. But instead I have these scratch trimmers. And this one on the left, if I just click it, and it's down here at the bottom, you all see that scratch trimmer. So if I click on this, I could just wiggle my mouse back and forth a little bit. I can zoom in on the waveform. So really quickly I could find... Right there, that's what I want. That's the waveform I want right there. I'm so excited about this. I was able to trim that really quickly, and I'm going to come over here to the right side to the scratch trimmer on my out point, and if I click that, notice I can see the waveform. She says spaghetti right there, and I can release. So even though the waveform's kind of hard to see when I'm zoomed out of it, by using that scratch trimmer, it's super, super fast. And what's really cool is if I'm on the keyboard, I can actually drag the scroller and just hold down one key for my scratch trimmer, and I'm able to scroll really refined and get exactly what I want as well. So whether you're using a mouse or the keyboard, you can get that point. And so once I have that, and I could edit that to the timeline, and now I have edited in that one little piece. Dragging and dropping works. Obviously, there's shortcuts to edit things in as well. I'm going to get rid of that, and this time I'm going to bring in the entire clip, because if this is a show that I'm cutting, I'm going to just clear those in and out points and bring in the entire thing, because if I'm cutting a DIY or something that happened in real time, I would just lay in the entire thing and then cut to the other cameras. I can always remove material later. So what I want to point out now are some of the features we have to make it even faster to do that. So for example, I'm going to look at the beginning of this, and as you can see, people staring at camera, not good cinema. Right? And there she's about to start. So if I wanted to trim this, I could just grab the beginning. I could trim it right here in the timeline. I could have marked an out point and hit delete, but just showing you can fully trim right here in the timeline. You may have noticed something up at the top of my timeline. What is this part? Well, that's also a timeline. We have 2 timelines working at the same point, or it's one timeline with 2 views at all times. Up at the top, I can jump around. This is like a map of my entire show. It always shows from the first frame to the last frame. And down below is a zoomed view of my timeline. And those of you who edit, you would not believe how much time you waste zooming in and out of your timeline. You zoom in, you do a little work, you zoom out, you move to another spot, you zoom in. I'm really fast at that, and if you edit all the time, you're really quick at it, but it's a lot of key presses, it's a lot of time. And here, I can get anywhere at any time just by clicking and dragging. So in this, let me find something interesting here. Right here, flame, that's good. Right here, we've got this spot with the fires coming up. Okay, that's great. I love that. I want to cut to another angle. Now, I know I have a couple of angles in here. Not quite sure what my footage actually is, but I do know I have this shot. I can see it. Now, if I wanted to find this exact same spot in my other camera, I could just hit F for match frame, and it automatically went to that frame for me. That was fast. And I could mark an in point. And mark an out point. Now, if I want to drop this in, rather than look at where my playhead is, if I hit this button right here, this is new. This is probably one of my favorite things I've discovered in a really long time for editing is source overwrite. And if I click that button or the key on our keyboard, it automatically drops it where it belongs in the matching time code to whatever the shot is already in the timeline. So it's not looking at the time code of the timeline, it's looking at the time code of the clip that's already there. So I was really quickly able to drop that in. If you notice, there's the shot. Okay, now I'm gonna actually mute that second track because I don't need that audio. And I can play that through, and as you can see, it's working. So that was pretty awesome, quick. And by the way, I told you I could edit here faster than real time. So guess what? I could go in through this shot. I could find any part of it. How about right there, stirring shrimp? That looks great. Marking in.
That's looking lovely.
No, that is looking lovely. Okay, so I marked an in, marked an out, and I hit source overwrite, it drops it in. I could go down further. Okay, what else is interesting from here? And I could find any shot in here, mark it, drop it in, keep going. And so I could literally quickly checkerboard an entire angle fast. But, you know, as a good editor, I'm not doing my job very well if I don't actually look at my footage, right? So if we wanted to go through our footage really quickly, one of the things we do, maybe our assistants put together a reel of our best takes or a reel of things that you can buzz through really quickly so that you could put it into your head. For those of you who ever worked with linear editing with tape, we always scrolled through our footage, right? You'd get it tails out, and you'd actually watch it as it was rewinding so you could see what you have to work with. Or one way or another, you want to see your actual footage. And so one of the buttons we have is up here at the top. If you click on the left, it will show you whatever clip you happen to have selected. In this case, I have that one. If I click on the right, and by the way, Q will toggle between those. If I go to the right, it's showing me my timeline, and this one in the middle is our source tape. And what it does is it basically makes a source tape for us. There, I click one button, and it's now strung together all of the footage in this bin, which is all my footage. If I wanted to look at just stuff from one shoot or one day or one scene, I could just open up that bin and then do a source tape. And now I can quickly scrub through this. Now you notice I'm dragging a mouse. Again, that's not as fast as it could be, but I'm able to scrub through all of those. I can also, anytime I'm over a shot, it shows me which shot it is, so I could open that up. And it's actually better than that. Watch, I'm gonna stop right about here. And if you wanted to look through your footage really fast, we actually have a button for that too, right here called Fast Review. And what Fast Review does is it will play it dynamically in fast forward based on the length of the shot. It'll never play it so fast that you can't see it, because if you ever drag through your footage really quickly, you'll miss something if it's only half a second or a few seconds long, or if it's really quick. And you can see some of these are very short. And so if I click this Fast Review, it's going to play it at fast forward based on that camera, but watch, it'll slow down. This is still faster. And when it changes shots, it's going to go to the next one. See, now it's going to be faster. So it's dynamic based on the length of the shot. So I can quickly watch my footage without hands off and actually see it and go through it that way as well. And I can sort it. So this is all fairly exciting, but there's more. Okay, again, making this easier. I said faster than real time. I have multiple cameras. Where are those? I need to, if I was in our edit page, for example, I would need to make a multicam clip, but we don't have to do that here. We just come up to this button right here. This is called Sync Clips, and what it will do is it will look at the entire bin. If I click that, it's going to say, okay, what do we have to work with? I click on that. Let me deselect everything down here. Come into here, and what it does is it's going to go through it and it's going to look at it. It's like, okay, here's your timeline. Here's all the shots lined up. Done. Now, if I had shots from 9 cameras, it would show me 9 cameras worth of stuff here. If there's footage in here I don't want, I can just create a bin, and it's going to look at everything within the bin that I've given it to look at. Right now, it is synced by time code. It did that automatically. If I did not have synced time code, as long as I have audio, I could just mark this, say sync. It should be the same. It is. But that's how fast it is. Yes, that's super fast, right? And just turn on all your mics. That's all. You don't ever have to use that sound, but just turn them on enough to sync this. And this, I can now go to any point in my show and I can see this. This is just a guide, by the way. Let's go ahead and close this. And now I actually want to edit with that. I'm going to go to a point in time. Let's go back to the fire. That was right up here. Notice I'm looking at my little map here and I can find where shots are. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to click a different bin. Instead of looking at my full media pool, I'm going to go into sync bin. And what this is doing, it's the same as working with a multicam clip, except I didn't have to do that. I don't have to do any of that extra work. I can just go in through here. I can even scroll through this footage. It's going to play them all at once with their sound, which is maybe not the best idea. And then what I can do is I can choose an angle. It'll automatically pick it for me if I wanted to do that. We can, let's see what else we can do. Let's go. So this is your standard media pool, and this is if you go to sync bin. Notice it shows me different angles. I could buzz through them and just hit the number key I want, and not only does it give me a shot, let's come over here, back to the fire. I want to find a spot right about there where the fire starts to come up. And instead of this overhead shot, which I really don't like, I'm going to go to this side angle. If I just touch that and hit source overwrite, it will give me a 5-second shot from that angle. So I could do this really fast on the fly. I can be playing, I can just see the number I like, click it or press the number, hit source overwrite, which is a very easy to reach button on the keyboard, and I have it in there. So once something's in the timeline, by the way, let's go back. This is fast. Once something's in the timeline, you can always trim it. Look, I could grab the edges and I could trim, and it'll actually show me what's happening. So depending on where I want that to go, I can always just make a few adjustments to it. And let's bring this one back. I don't need as much on the flames there. And notice how I'm just kind of talking to myself like I might if I was editing.
So here we go.
Okay, so there's the flames, there's them. And right about there, I want to cut to the other shot. I could just go in here and finesse this. And if I was had both hands on that keyboard, I could just hold a trim button and I could just use the dial to dial this back. Let's go back to the beginning of this one. You know what would be really nice is if I could throw a dissolve right there. And I can. I just have to hit one button. There. There's a dissolve at the beginning. It takes about a second.
And it caramelizes beautifully. So here we go. Oh, wow. That's really warm, so make sure you step back when you do.
Okay, so really quick. And so depending on how fast you're doing it, it works. And by the way, if you shot like an interview where there's only 2 cameras, how fast is this? You lay down your master shot of your talent, and then you just go through, load up the one other camera of the person asking questions, just mark the question parts, drop them all in where they want to go, and you've done a rough cut of your whole show. Then you go in and clean it up. So this is all very awesome. Let me just show you one other trick. We've got a lot of them. I'm going to go back towards the beginning here and notice that I just have to click anywhere up here to get there. I want to go towards the beginning, show you that we have something else which is a little humorous here, the boring detector. I don't know if they will keep that name, but if I happen to turn that on, I'm able to decide, let's say I've cut my show together, I'm able to decide at what point things get a little bit boring. You know, well, let's say over a certain number of seconds, I could say 30 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever I determine is any time it sits on one person. Because I got to tell you, I've cut some very compelling documentaries. It doesn't matter what they're saying. You cannot stay on someone's face for too long before it gets boring. You really do have to cut to something. It doesn't matter what it is. A still, anything is, it just, you have to cut around every now and then. So what this will do is it'll analyze, it'll find the spots where things start to fall apart and get boring, and that reminds you that you have to go in and add some footage. Now here's the problem we might run into is, here I have the beginning of the show. I'm playing it from the...
It's going to show us really quick.
This is awesome. It's the 2 ladies talking.
Isn't that right?
Okay, so I could find any spot in here. Let's say I wanted to cut in. What would I do? Let's go see what I have. I'm going to check my sync bin, and right now I have 2 whole choices. I have the 2 ladies talking, and I have empty pots of boiling water. What do you think? Tough choice, right? Well, when you don't have a choice, which is exactly now, we still have to cut, right? We still have to make it good. That's our job. The audience doesn't care how we got there. They just want it to be good, right? So what do? Well, what I would normally do is probably cut this clip and make a closer version of it, right? We'd pop in and make a little close-up to make it more interesting. And I was just going to point out we have another button right here, right there, called close-up. Everything's very literal, by the way, on the cut page. So what close-up will do is it's actually leveraging our AI. Yes, I think everyone has AI nowadays. It's not Skynet yet, but we're getting, no, but what it is this is our neural engine, DaVinci neural engine, and what that does is it's actually going to analyze faces, and it helps you sort clips and bins and add metadata based on people's faces. And in this case, it's actually using a whole lot of math to try to determine what the subject is within a 5-second period from where you push this button. And one of the cool things is, I'm just going to push this button right now, is if I click that, it not only analyzed it, but it gave me a 5-second shot. Now, granted, it won't be right every time, but if I play this, let me go back to the beginning.
Really quick, really fast.
Did you see what it gave me? What is that? Wait, it gave me a
My name is Elmira, and we have a special
close-up
guest
shot
today.
that framed
He's gonna
both
show us
people,
a really
barely.
Quick, really fast dish
that framed them both. So it kind of looked at it. It's using faces to try to determine. It's also using action. So obviously, if you've got someone doing a lot of chopping or something, it's probably going to go, well, that must be more important. So let me just do another example of this, because this is also another huge time saver. So right here, we have loading of salt. Okay, now there's still 2 people on the screen. So what happens if I do a close-up now? Let's take a look.
salt are we actually supposed to put?
Oh, look.
Okay, so I'm gonna
There's
put
even
those
look
tables-
room. It's
I'm not
looking
saying
5
it's a
seconds
wash,
ahead.
but
Do you
I
see
say
how it
actually
kept her
you
on the
should be-
frame? Now, I'm not saying you can't go in there and fix it, because of course we'll go in and do it our way, but that's really fast, okay? So as you're making that second pass and you're tightening things up and making it more interesting, that's one button. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's go in, and there's more, so let me just jump in now. I'm going to go into a mostly baked version of the timeline, because I already showed you how to mark clips. I showed you how you could cut things in and out. You could mark ins and outs. You can delete. You could do all that standard stuff you might do. But here we've got something that's a little further ahead, and I just want to point out some of our other features that we might have. So, for example, let's start at the beginning. Let's say I wanted to add a shot where she's mentioning what the dish actually is. This would be a great point to cut to an actual shot of the dish when it's finished. This is a teaser now. Instead of cutting the whole show, I'm just doing a teaser. So I might want a shot of the dish that I can actually add a title to or something. In that case, I could use in and outs exactly like I would in normal editing.
One of my favourites is a prawn. This area
So she's talking about her favorites. I mark an in.
One of my favourites is a prawn and basil spaghettini.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Okay, so that sounds amazing. It really does. And now I'm hungry. So now that we've set that, I've just marked in and out points. I just have to go find a clip. Remember, when you're looking for clips, I could just come over here if I wanted to in my source tape and say, okay, wait, where's the shot of the dish? Oh, look, there it is. Lucky guess. And once I have that shot, I could use my JK now. I kind of like right there where there's no hands in there. That's pretty good.
That's coming up really nice.
Okay, let's say I like this part of the shot. I don't even need an out point, actually. I just need to mark an in point because I have in and outs in the timeline. And then all I have to do is click this place on top button, and it will automatically stick it where
One of my favourites.
I told it to go. So that type of editing you're used to, yes, you can, of course, do all of that here. One other thing you can do on your clips,
It's a prawn.
I'm going to zoom in on my clip for a second, is every clip has a slip tool. I don't know if you can see it. Let me zoom. Okay, right there is a slip tool. So if I click on that, it'll let me slip my footage back and forth in case there's a hand in the shot or there's something I want to avoid. I can just click on that. I'll just do it here. You can see I could start it earlier or later, and it actually shows you you're starting at endpoints. Got rid of that shadow, and now I have exactly what I want. So that kind of detail you can absolutely do here as well. Let's go down a little bit further. So as I'm doing my pass, I've done a quick cut of my timeline, and now I'm just going in there and finessing it and leveraging some of those really powerful tools that come in DaVinci Resolve. Because one of the goals with the cut page was to be really fast for quick turnaround stuff. It's not the shows where you're going to be spending months or years editing something. There you're going to need a lot more bins and metadata and elements like that. But for quick turnaround, you're just cutting something that's going to be out the same day, within a few hours or within a couple of days, and you just need to focus, get it up, and you're posting it right away, then this is where you can really work quickly. So I've put my cut together. I'm just finessing a few details here.
So it's
Right here, she's
thinner style
talking.
spaghetti, and it cooks quite quickly, and it's nice and fine. And
Right there, she kind of looks at the camera. And I'm looking at this going, well, you know what? It's been on them for a while. Let's try one of those close-up shots. You think it'll work? She turns to the camera. I hit close-up. Now, it automatically, I told you it gives you a 5-second shot. Unless you're near the end of the clip and there's less than 5 seconds, then it'll roll it to the end of the shot for you. So right now, it gave me a random amount
and
of
sometimes
time.
it's called
And look at
angel
that.
pasta.
Super fast, okay? Now it's cutting to the flames, but what I'd really like to see is a shot where we actually cut the shrimp, right? This is prawn and basil spaghettini, and I'm yet to see a prawn except one of a prawn head on fire. So let's go find one of those prawn shots. Again, quickly I can go through here. I have all my footage, and I can just find the shot of, it's a cutting board shot's what I'm looking for, so I can go up here and I can say, hey, sort by camera. That way I know for sure all my cutting board shots will be together. Oh, look, there it is. That's the shot I'm looking for.
Cutting the prawn in half from head.
Now, by the way, you're going, wow, that was pretty quick, right? Going through all my source material really quickly, sorting by camera, finding it. How many of you have gone fishing through bins trying to find a shot that you saw once? It's like, I know we have it. Where is it? Open bin. This shot? Nope. This shot? Nope. This shot? Nope. And, well, the fast way is take all those clips, dump them into a timeline just so that you can scrub through them real quickly and see if you can find the shot, then delete all that and go back in and say, okay, it's in that bin. Because that's the life of trying to find shots sometimes. So this is so much faster, as you can see, and I was able to get exactly what I wanted to. And I'm just going to mark that right here. That's pretty good. She's crunching down through that shrimp.
Down, all the way through.
She sets the knife down, I'm marking out. Okay, so I'm happy, and I want to insert this. Well, we have standard inserting tools as well. We could just click this button, and it just did a smart insert. So here's my shot.
Down, all the way through.
Now, I look at that, and I say, well, you know, that's cool, but it's a little far away. I wish we could do a close-up. There's no face. What do you think? There's a disembodied prawn head right there. But what do you think it's going to zoom in on? Let's try it. I clicked my close-up button, and it gave me a shot. Let's see what we got.
Down, all the way through.
Okay, it's not perfect. It's not exactly what I do. It's looking at the hand, I think. It was trying to frame the hand as the action. But guess what? We can go in here, and I can tweak anything I want to just by clicking the tools here. So now I have the ability to move this around. I can actually zoom in and out. This is where we're leveraging a lot of the power you would find in the inspector if you're working in DaVinci Resolve, the main edit page. And instead, it's all hidden in here nicely for us for making some adjustments. So there's my new shot. Now let's look at that in full frame, shall we?
Angel hair pasta. Down, all the way through.
Okay, how many of you are camera operators? What's wrong with that shot? I'm playing it again. Now everyone watch.
Angel hair pasta. Down, all the way through.
Did you
All
see
the way
it?
through.
Did you? It's the jump cut. I'm not worried about. It's the shake. Okay, that camera was mounted on the table that the cutting board is on, and so when she jams her hand down on it, the whole thing shakes. Watch again.
Down, all the way through.
See it? Oh man, I could not turn that in. There are people who will see that. Not everyone. Obviously, you guys didn't because it's been a long day, maybe. But so if we were in Resolve, we could fix this really fast with our stabilizer, and we are. So right here under our tools, I'm going to come up here, zoom in real quick. If you look. Right here we have a little camera. So this is where we can crop our shots, we can adjust the audio, we can go in and retime them. We can click this button right here, and this gives us the very easy and friendly version of our stabilizer. So if I click this, I can actually stabilize whatever shot my playhead's under. And by the way, when you click this menu, come over here and show you, you can also change, I could go back and forth. If I reset this, one of the things you can do is it'll change whatever shot you happen to be over, but you can also adjust lens issues if you happen to have those. So if I select that shot, again, I'll just hit stabilize real fast. So you can see I wanted to not be zoomed in, so you can see how quickly I was able to fix that. And now when I come in,
Down, all the way through.
rock solid, you see it? So that works really well. We can also lock off shots. You can fix lens issues. So that was really helpful and super fast. So little things like that, even though they're powerful, I can still do them really easily in here. So awesome. We can go in and find other angles, go through here. And how about at the end here? See how I have this nice locked off shot at the end? And you're probably thinking, wow, what would you actually do if this was the end of a teaser? Would you do a little pull out, push in? I'm thinking push in a little bit. So we have that too. Now, a lot of us, we'd have to do a few keyframes to do that, and I could. But instead, what we'll do is I'm going to leverage another one of our tools that we have right here, which is our dynamic zoom. And by just turning that on, we have it on every single clip if we want it. It automatically will go, and I just have to flip it on. And what it does is you'll see there's two outlines. Let me zoom in on that a little bit so you can see it a little better. Do you see there's a red outline and a green outline? The red outline, it's green is start, red is stop. So just like traffic or anything else. So right now it's starting wide and it's starting wide and pushing in. I could flop it if I wanted to and go the opposite direction. I can resize it if I wanted to or do whatever. And all that's going to happen automatically. This is great on stills too. And you can also do your pan and scans and other things just from here. Yes, you can do it on our edit page too. I'm just showing you the fast way to do it on this particular tool. So right now I am going to If I play this
Amazing.
clip, it's pulling out. If I swap that, now it's going to push in, and I'm going to change the actual finished frame for the push in. And to do that, I just need to grab that handle. This is really fun on a laptop, by the way, just saying. And one other thing we have on all these tools is there's a reset in the corner. It's your standard backward curly arrow reset button that you would find if you've ever done anything in post. So let's try to zoom in again here. And what I'm going to do is just change. So here I have it, and I can go one direction or the other. I'm going to make this so that it starts wide and then it comes in on this shot, and I'm going to actually change and reframe it a little bit just to show you that I can. So if I play that
Delicious,
shot.
if I might say so myself.
Okay, and that was without doing any kind of keyframing. Not that I can't keyframe, because I could, but
And
that's just really fast. So as you can see, it's as nice a shot or composing as I might want to do. And so all of your tools are in here that you might want to work with. You can also come up here, and if you notice up at the top, if you're ready to put your project out, we have a quick export. If I click on that, let me just zoom in. This quick export right here, it gives you a window. And that window, depending on what your settings are, this will give me my H.264, H.265 ProRes. If you have a YouTube channel and you want to go to that and just say, you can have that preset up so it'll be ready to just automatically post. As soon as you click the button, it's already on, it goes straight up to your channel and you're done. If only life was that easy, right? But that's in theory how it works. We also have full integration, of course, with Frame.io. I'm going to come out of here and close this. And just for fun, how many of you have ever had to deliver something in vertical or like portrait mode? That's like a new thing, right? Where you actually, a deliverable is, you also need it to work on a phone this way because people don't do this very well, apparently. Or it also shows body, if it's fashion and things like that, that sort of works. So if you needed to deliver in portrait mode or change your resolution, you can do all that right up here. And there's a button. I'll just zoom in on that again. Right here, I can change what I'm delivering to. So right now it's full HD, but if I had Ultra HD and I was working in let's say a lesser version, I could go straight up to Ultra HD. I could also do portrait mode just like that, and it will resize it for me. Now, obviously, it's changing the frame. I would have to do some pan and scan and some work. I'd have to go through my show and fix it. But the idea is I could do it really quickly. I could make a separate timeline for that and just go in and make adjustments. So as you can see, the way that I can work and how quickly I can work and go through things is pretty awesome. You also, just so you know, you are in Resolve, so you still have access to all of your transitions that are available in Resolve. You have access to all of those effects, including our really high-end effects. You can get in there and you can add those to your clips as well. And we even have our titles. So you can go in and add your titles, make adjustments. And in fact, just to show you that I can do a title, I'll just slap one on. And I can add it to the upper timeline or the lower. It won't matter. It's the same place. Remember, it's a map, so I can get there really quickly. I didn't have to waste 1 second zooming in or out. I'm already there. And there's my title. I can zoom in. And by the way, how do I adjust my title? You would do it the same way you would do any title you've ever done. Just bring up my tools. Once you add a title, you'll see that a little T shows up so that I can open the inspector for the title. It's one of the few things where you actually need an inspector because there's too much information to cram into that little space. But this is just standard titles. So Prawn and Basil. I can't spell spaghettini. S-P-A-G-G-H-E-T-T-I-N-I. There you go. Spaghettini. Who knew? Which is angel hair pasta, in case you didn't know that. All right, so I have that set up. And as you can see, there it is. I can do any of the standard changes I might want to my text, just as you would in anything you've ever done. There, it's centered now. I can do things like the drop shadow. It's already there. You just have to offset it slightly. There's my drop shadow. I can even change the font. So things you've done all the times you've ever done titles, you can also do those here. Just find something different there. And so we have our titles. So as you can see, it's as easy or as complicated as you want it to be to have your titles. So all of that's good. Now, one thing you might notice is what I can't see my title very well underneath this busy background. So of course, what would you do? You'd go in and you just add a quick Gaussian blur, which I'm doing right now. Don't put it on the title, put it on the background. There, and I've blurred my background. So as you can see, everything I needed to be able to get in there and do all of that quick work was all done just on this cut page. And just so you know, this is our editor, our edit keyboard, which I had mentioned before. It's on the way when I finish. If you want to come up and touch this, it is awesome. It actually is real keys that actually press and you can feel them. It's got weight to it, so it's meant to last for a really long time. And there's a key for everything that you would want to do. And there's even freeze frame, picture in picture, and all those little elements, so you can add all those little touches that you might need as you go. So hopefully you get in. And by the way, the price of this particular software is free. So it works on Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's available now. You can download it. There is no charge for that. If you're working Ultra HD, higher end formats, if you're doing Dolby Atmos surround sound and that sort of thing, you will need our paid version, which is only $2.99, and that is a one-time fee. It's about the price of a plug-in, right? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
You guys just keep putting more stuff in.
We do, more
and
stuff.
lowering the price. And it's just amazing how far it's come. And it's only been